Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hanging Out on Mondays. We've got like the usual suspects, I guess, right? We're all here. I read something interesting today. I thought I'd throw it out as our first question, kind of go around the room and get your feelings on it. Sometimes when we connect with like a wedding client, they're a social media friend of ours, they're on our Facebook, whatever. Do you ever feel bad when you notice that the couple has split up? Like, you were there, you were their DJ, you put a lot into it, they put a lot into it, and a couple years later, they're no more. How do you feel about that? Buddy, you got feelings on that?
Yeah, it's one of the things I've heard and seen, more or less heard more than I've seen
Because your
is
couples stay together.
for what we know for the most part, yeah. But when it does happen, when people do unfortunately go their separate ways,
Yeah.
it is a sad moment because we were there, we saw, especially when you do the ceremony, you saw the love and care for each other, and for whatever reason, it's between the two of them. They decide to split. They decide to go their own separate ways, and I feel that it's very disheartening. It's very hurting. Far as uh, just for the two of them, I feel bad for, especially there's children involved. Sometimes there's new babies. Sometimes this is their second marriage or third marriage,
Yeah,
and
go
it's like,
figure. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, okay, this is your second time around or third time around. Did you really have to marry this person, or should you have dated them longer and figure out that, hey, they leave the tooth paste upside down, or they do this or do that, and I don't like it.
I mean, we're all
It's sad.
we're not coming in as friends. We're coming in as providers. We're coming in to help them put these things together. They've already been together. They've already decided to do this, and then it happens. So, Eric, I have this question for you. Have you ever noticed? Have you ever seen this happen? And do you ever feel like it's your fault? Was it something you did at the wedding that split them up?
Why do you aim that at me?
Because it was fun.
No. Listen, it happened once that I know of, and I could tell the day of the wedding. It seemed like the man, the groom, felt like he was forced into this, like he didn't want to be married. And I think I may be wrong, but it makes sense because she was pregnant. And I believe they were he thought,
Yeah.
okay, now I got to marry her.
Sure.
A year and a half later, they're separated.
Happened.
Divorced.
Absolutely. I've experienced
there's many reasons. People grow
Of course
up.
there are.
Yeah.
The question is kind of, how do you feel about it, And the question that I'll ask Kevin is, you ever feel like you could have done something different at the reception to make it happen? No, that's not the question. The question is, Kevin, if you've ever seen this, did you ever see a sign while planning the event that it might go that way?
Maybe not so much at the event, or more of it's through the whole relationship that I've had, like maybe during the consultation,
Right.
or
Right.
like her saying everything or him saying everything. It's not like a give and take. I know some people have said that the cake feeding, it can get, if it's a little aggressive, maybe there's some hostility hiding under there. So it's sort of a collection of, through the whole event, even before the event, that I've thought, I wonder how long, and and I try to, as part of my services, I always offer marriage counseling down the road for the long as they're together.
Pastor Jay,
maybe not.
Have you seen this happen? And do you believe that your efficient services had anything to do with the result?
I officiated one wedding where the pastor had a stroke in the middle of the ceremony.
Ooh.
Collapsed, was ambulanced out. I stepped in. I performed technically the rest of it and pronounced them husband and wife and signed the marriage certificate. I know for a fact that they were split up within a month.
Ooh.
Because apparently one of the things he had failed to mention along the way was that once he was married, he thought it would be appropriate to hit his wife.
Ooh.
And I know this because I know her mother.
Mm.
So her mother, when I said to her like 4 months later, hey, how are so-and-so and so-and-so doing? She said, I'm sorry to tell you they broke up, but it's a good thing he started hitting her. So I have that one. I have Tracy. I did Tracy's first wedding. Seemed fine. I did Tracy's second wedding a year and a half later.
Mm.
Seemed okay. And I did Tracy's third wedding. And Tracy had the same vendors at all three weddings and jokingly said at each wedding, you guys had nothing to do with our relationship. You guys just provided great photos, great food, great cake, and a great party. And, you know, I don't track my clients. I'm friends with people on Facebook that maybe go back 10 years.
Right. No, I understand. We can't know.
Yeah, you don't cognizant. You like to think that, you know, things are good. I've had probably 3 weddings where the grooms were jerks before the wedding to the bride. I famously had one where the bride sent like literally the longest email ever apologizing to me for the groom's behavior at the reception because he started yelling at me in front of everyone on the dance floor. And the first time he did it, I was like, hey, you know, this is the meeting and this and that. And then he did it again. And I think what came out of my mouth was that he could go F himself. And I think I said it louder than he did because he was starting to get into an aggressive stance, at which point everyone kind of broke the two of us up.
Right.
But I also
that's never good.
Services.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Jay's not a little guy. I mean
6'1", 230.
He's not a petite flower. So
this guy was small, but he was just a jerk, and they didn't make it either. Do I think we as DJs can see signs before the wedding? Yeah, I think the key signs are when they're argumentative or distant in front of you. My rule of thumb as a married man of 24 years, I've been with my wife for 30. My rule has always been there's a time and a place for everything in a relationship. If you are going to fight with your girlfriend, fiance, or wife in front of other people, that's a really bad sign. You can have a disagreement, but if you're going to physically be like, what are you talking about? I never said I wanted that song at the wedding. Yeah, last week. No, I didn't. Like, and I've been in those meetings and they're really uncomfortable.
It's like, how is this ever going to work?
But I have to add this caveat. I am a service.
Right.
They're paying me to play music. They're not paying me, you know, $300 an hour to be a therapist or to be a counselor.
Right.
Nor do I think it's my place to offer those services.
Right.
I come in, I do the best I can. My wedding Saturday, the bride, the sister of the groom came up to me and said, hey, Jay, I'm Jennifer. I don't know if you remember me. You did my wedding 8 years ago at the other property. I said, I absolutely do remember you. You had the best hora I've ever done at a wedding. I can prove it. It's on YouTube. And she's like, we go to weddings all the time and we use our wedding as the judgment point. And I have to tell you, we have yet to go to a wedding where we had as much fun or we danced as much or the music was as great. This is before her brother's wedding. And I can tell you last Saturday, I know it's short, but the 2.5 hours I had, on my life, I had everyone on that 10 by 12 dance floor in the middle of the backyard with all the tables around. It was really tight. If I have my way, every wedding is going to be set up like that. No one could get off the dance floor, so they had to stay on it. So it looked amazing all night, but it was the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what? I hope they make it, but I don't think it reflects on me.
No, of course it doesn't. I was kidding about that, but it's, you know, how do you feel about it when it happens and you know what happens?
You know what? You want the truth, Brian? I don't care either way. It has nothing to do with me. Once the wedding is over, and again, there are people I physically talked to that I was their DJ. I would say we have a soft spot for each other, or we're associates.
Right? Yeah. There are people you connect with.
Yeah,
I connect on a human level. You know,
the EDM wedding I did a few years ago. We text each other on Instagram. I put up something, they like it, they comment.
Yeah.
But I can't focus on anything other than my marriage,
right,
and my family. So if yours breaks up, I feel bad. If you need a shoulder to cry on, if you want some thoughts, but I certainly don't know the secret of success.
Oh no, I wasn't even suggesting you might.
No. But that's
I was
why
just curious how you felt about it.
No, that's how I feel. I
don't take it
don't
personal.
really feel any which way.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, because again, I can't change that outcome, nor would I ever try to reach out and go, "Hey man, give it another chance." I mean, just like you and I have both had friends at some point who contacted us and said, "Hey man, this isn't going to work. I'm having an affair. I think I'm going to leave her." Well, yeah, you probably should.
Yeah, probably. I'm your wedding DJ.
So?
Maybe you're calling the wrong person. Yeah.
Well, but that's it. It's like they're just looking. When people F up a situation, they only want two things. They want somebody to validate their right or to validate the other person's wrong. And if you can't fulfill either one of those, then you have nothing to do with it. So if my ex-couples go on Facebook and go, "Hey, 10 years, that's the best we could do." Hey, guys, good luck in the future. If you ever get married again.
I had to save Jay for last. What was I thinking? I thought, he'll be good. It'll work. John, what you say? How do you feel about this when it happens?
You can get a good read on the couples when you're sitting with them to know if they're going to work together. You just see interaction. They already seem married. They interact. They both concede to one another. No, let's do what you want. Let's do what you want. And you hope for the best. Once the day is done, if you see them in public at a grocery store, you say, "Hey, hi, how you doing?" I mean, we shouldn't make the habit of stalking our previous couples on social media. Right. When the day's done, it's like you hope for the best. But you've seen signs too. If you're sitting in the meetings and parents are involved, you can see when you get those micromanaging parents that are just meddling. And you're like, "Yeah, ooh, that's going to be a problem down the road." You can just feel the ice when they come walking in the room. And you're going, "Oh boy, that's going to be fun." But no, I think I've got a pretty good track record. I don't know of anyone specifically that's separated, but I think
I do. I got a bunch.
It's not anything that we did or didn't do or anything we could have prevented. It's going to run.
Of course not.
Because we're not going to steer the ship once we set it off the port. You know what I mean?
It would be. I almost think it would be foolhardy to think there's something you could have done differently. It just is what it is. Have you ever had this happen to you, Damon?
Yeah, I know of 3 couples for sure that all separated. One of them, I wound up doing her second wedding. So
right, like Jay did 3, yeah. Teresa, who just can't get it right or whatever anymore.
Yeah. But also had one, they didn't make it through the night. Well, I mean, in her defense, she didn't know her husband had a warrant out for his arrest for selling drugs.
Ooh,
he got arrested at the reception.
That'll do it.
Literally, dimed on him.
Michigan State Police came in, surrounded the hall, dragged him right on out, and we was like, "Okay, what do I do now?"
Bad boy.
I mean, I can play that, or I can. You know what? I'm gonna play a Cupid Shuffle after that. I mean, how do you recover?
Right, to the left.
Yeah, but no,
I fought the law won.
Right. But I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean,
no, of course
couple's a couple. Their own personal life is their personal life. You don't know what happens in that bedroom or that house when you're not around. So nothing you can do about it.
Well, the weird part about it for me, when I'm thinking about it, is the statistics. Is there's a better than 50% chance that it's not going to work.
Well, yeah.
There's statistics on this stuff, and I've met couples where I've become friends with them and I've done events for their families and I've gotten close with them.
Right.
And then come to find out years later, it doesn't work out for one reason or another. That feels bad because it's on a personal level. Mm-hmm. But I will share this story. I did a wedding. It was right before the whole COVID thing hit. And it was a young lady who was a makeup artist. And I'd met her through those model photo shoots I was doing for lighting. I was lighting those shoots. Mm-hmm. She was the makeup artist. Real nice girl. And she's getting married. I'm like, okay, great. Not thinking about it. She was marrying one of the models that we worked with. And I was like, oh, okay. Because in my brain, I'm thinking, well, I kind of assumed he was gay. I thought everybody, maybe what? Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not. Maybe that was a bad assumption for me to make. But she married him. We did the wedding, and yeah, it lasted a week. He was gay, you know. And the weird part about it is, it's to the point now where I'm afraid to ask somebody how things are going if I've DJ'd their wedding. It's almost asking somebody, I don't know, like if how's the baby when there was maybe a complication of pregnancy you didn't know about yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's uncomfortable to even ask the question, how's it going? You wait for them to tell you, or I do anyway, because I don't want to be the one to open that can of worms. Volunteer the information or don't, but I'm not asking any questions.
Right.
We got time for one more question tonight?
Yeah.
I believe
Damon,
to our sponsors too.
oh yeah, DJ Event Planner sponsors. Thank you for being one of our sponsors. And you can check out them and our other sponsors in the description of this video on YouTube. Thank you, DJ Event Planner. Damon, you actually asked a really interesting question before we kicked the show off. I thought it'd be an interesting question for the show. Tell us your story.
Well, I have a wedding coming up in October, and the bride wants to come in as something different besides your typical "Here Comes a Bride" and a couple of other songs. So I'm like, I asked one of the guys, Buddy, I said, Buddy, you can give me some suggestions, some songs that I can play. I can relate to her to see if she might want to choose one of them. So what are you guys playing for your bride? When you're doing ceremonies, what are you guys playing for the bride to walk down the aisle to?
I'll throw this out right away. I've been doing wedding ceremonies for a long time, and I cannot remember the last time I did the traditional organ processional. And it would almost be weird if somebody came down to it. It's kind of like the amazing untattooed man. Like, oh my God, he has no tattoos. That's me.
Yeah.
Because everybody else has tattoos now. That used to be
me.
normal. Now it's weird. I almost feel that way about that. I think the weirdest thing I could ever have anybody come down the aisle to today in 2024 is "Here Comes the Bride." I think that would be the most bizarre thing anybody could play. Because everybody does something else. Anybody else want to take this one?
I think you have to establish where they come from. I was telling John C. one night, I had a bride who was really kind of dark, gothy-ish, and wanted something totally different, but wanted to put it on me. So I played the piano intro on a loop of Type O Negative, "Love You to Death," and she cried. So that was a perfect fit for her. I don't think you, and no disrespect to Buddy or me or John or Brian, but asking us to give you 3 songs, here's 3 songs I've played in the past that may or may not have any bearing on anything. I think diving in a little bit and getting a little more info on the client as to where they're coming from musically.
Sure.
Vitamin String Quartet is your friend. I mean, there's 10,000 songs there.
Yeah.
No matter what genre or group they mention, you have a track that you could send a clip of, or even a link to YouTube or whatever, and say, take a listen to this. I don't ever want a client to put the onus on me, because then there's regret. If it wasn't perfect, they can go, well, Jay messed that up. Versus, I've got 3 ideas. Take a listen. What do you think? Oh my God, we love this. Okay, great. Now you've sold them on it. So again, it's not a matter of Buddy giving you 3 songs.
No,
it's not about giving me 3 songs.
That.
And
he had that client.
I kind of get the feeling that Damon was trying to figure out a good way to approach this. And I mean, to Jay's point, maybe a really interesting thing to do would be to say, hey, who's your favorite artist, or what's your favorite movie, or something like that, to kind of get an idea.
Vibe you can get off. Maybe they like Twilight. You can do 1,000 years from Twilight.
Maybe find an instrumental on their first dance that would be a slightly different arrangement to get in.
Well, I'm trying to get that from her. She's 19 years old, so
great. Okay, see, that's not going to happen. She
Give her a TikTok video.
Yeah, I would just send her a couple Drake instrumentals and call it a day.
Favorite TikTok challenge.
No, so I'm just trying to, if I have a rough idea of some songs, I could maybe try to send them. But I told her, think of songs that mean something to you. Okay,
Right.
and get back to me on that. But in the meantime,
Barney theme, the Wiggles.
I'm with you on that one. But but she's also a close friend, so it's like,
That's cool.
let me get
It
this.
makes it tough at that age. I don't envy you
Yeah,
now because that's a variable that's not easy to break around. I mean, she's too young to have experienced a lot of classic music.
right.
And well, unless she's in the movies or something, maybe she's just
Even
looking for film.
Twilight came out 12 years ago. She's probably not a Twilight fanatic. She was 7.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
you
You
can
know what I'm
watch
saying?
old
Like you got to
movies.
look at it. Maybe
Yeah.
Disney. Maybe she's got a Disney thing.
Yeah. Who knows?
Maybe try hitting her with Disney movies if she's got a fave. Oh, I always love the theme
From
from
Frozen. I don't play Frozen.
Frozen, Moana, whatever.
Vitamin
Now
C,
at least
just
you
let it
have
go.
a direction.
Yeah.
Vitamin String, like Jay said, is a really good resource. I mean,
Yeah.
they do everything in string, so you can always find stuff there.
Yeah.
You have something, Kevin, that you'd like to
Well,
share?
you mentioned Vitamin String, or you and Jay did. I did an event that I thought was sort of unique. It's been probably about 5 years ago or more. It was at a castle, and it was in October. So if you can guess, they wanted the whole theme of their night and their outfit and what they wore was The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, nice.
So they did Vitamin String Quartet. We did that for their seating music and also incorporated that into them coming into the room.
Nice.
Okay.
A lot of fun with this. Anybody have any other thoughts or suggestions for Damon on how to?
I would definitely would say, Brian, especially when running the couples that have a thought or theme that they're going with, is to embrace that theme. And that's one of the things you can talk to her about and say, you can have a theme running through your wedding. It could be an Alice in Wonderland theme. It could be a Star Wars theme. It's what, make it personal for them, like Jay said. But the big thing is that, give them some suggestions of some songs. VSQ, Two Cellos, Brooklyn Duo, those all groups right there are just great for music. And they have a lot of very popular songs they've made into instrumentals or light acoustic versions of. They can find something very quickly that they like very much and that they can make it their own. There's no rules, set fast rules of saying you have to have this or that for your wedding for this song, for the processional, for the bride, or even for, it could be the recessional. They can have anything they want to. That's the fun part about music today.
I just got to
wish it
say
was a
it.
Star Wars theme.
I just got to say it. I was too distracted by what your hand was doing to even hear anything you were saying. And then I realized you were actually petting a dog, and it was okay all of a sudden.
Yeah. He's scratching
I thought you were like typing off screen and no one could see it. Or
No, my little doggie is here. She wants to get petted before she goes to bed.
Hello, dog. We like dogs.
Yeah. But I wish it was a Star Wars theme. I'll be all set for that,
Well, maybe she likes it.
Well,
It's probably Attack of the Clones or something,
Yeah, exactly. Still.
Well, kids, that was hanging out on Mondays, and I hope you all had fun. So we will see you next Monday or tomorrow, or I don't know, whenever. We never know when this is really going to get posted, and it doesn't really matter because we're here. We're here, and you're there.